551. Of course, the area code 343.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the most merciful, the truthful, I greet all of you with greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum. I want to say we today, and we met him through another guest that we had, Miss Houston, Celeste Houston. And pardon me, let me get my glasses. And because you heard me ask her to put me in touch with others who think like her. And this brother that we have today, I've had one brief conversation with him. He's out on the West Coast, and we share the same barber, Brother Sultan. But anyway, I want to briefly introduce him, and then I'm going to allow him to reintroduce himself. Sir Holman, he's a fashion and costume designer to the stars. And in May of this year, Mr. Holman held a small exhibit of a few of his archives and costumes from Michael Jackson, Miss Elizabeth Taylor, Neil Diamond, Lionel Richie, Janet Jackson, Heavy D, the Nicholas Brothers, Dorothy Dandridge, and his Wizard of Oz archives, including some from the late Jack Haley Sr.'s estate. And this private event was a wonderful success, and the guest list included Robert Baum and Tony Nicholas, to name a few. Costume designer Rhett Turner was also in attendance with members of his design staff, and Mr. Holman is lining up future dates for more exhibits in several museums across the country, and then eventually overseas. He is also in the process of gathering images and stories for a coffee table book of both his designs and those of the late legendary designer Bill Whitman. That said, he has decided to put Miss Elizabeth Taylor's jewel turban up for auction next year. Part of the proceeds going to the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation and FAR. As they discussed a few years ago while she was alive. It would be an honor to do this in her memory. Keith Holman has also recently been interviewed for a documentary movie called The Slipper, where he discussed costume collectors, the ruby red slippers from The Wizard of Oz, his and collections. Also, by the way, if you didn't understand, that was plural, his collections and connections. Also, he recently filmed an upcoming to the Smithsonian channel featuring some of his collections being shown and some being sold. Keith Holman has recently been asked by a city official to head up the fashion and costume section of a new up-and-coming African-American cultural center and museum in the conceptual stage now in Orange County. And I'm familiar with Orange County and all of those areas. I grew up out there. We want to welcome to Mr. Holman, Sir Holman, and I'm told that that's not an honorary title, and if you care to, you can share with us, receive knighthood, and what then we will go into other things. Mr. Holman, are you there? Is he in the room?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I first want to thank you for that wonderful introduction. And it's so interesting hearing your work when you're used to just working all the time. You don't think about it. You don't really think about it. You just do it. And I want to thank you for inviting me on your show and to talk a bit about my work and the things that I've done across the country as I did. And as you know, we both have connections with our barber and with Mrs. Houston and with other people. And as it's kind of wonderful just going full circle. As you know, last night I attended the Black Arms, which was the Oscars from actors from Nigeria and 30 different countries, and some leaders from Angola and all different people were at the event last night here in Los Angeles. And to be just part of that was quite amazing.
Did you email me?
So, growing up in the Midwest and in Montana, I was a little guy and I didn't really know my direction or where I was going. And so if you have anything that, if you're not a lawyer or a doctor or police officer, something which are amazing positions to hold, but if your idea is a little different, your parents don't always know what to do with you. So they moved us to California, Northern California, and I went to design school. But they also told me to go to college for business law, international law, and I took courses in that. I graduated from San Jose State University. And at the same time, I was working here in Los Angeles. Well, actually, he would not take me until I graduated, so I worked part-time. And it was during the Jackson's Victory Tour, as when I started working with in the beginning. I mean, there's been doing that, and I went to see this amazing Bill Witten, who had worked with Earth, Wind, and Fire, who had worked with so many people, and I was able to work with the Diamond and Rex and Longy dancing on the ceiling, and Michael the Jackson Family, which are just amazing. And it was and so many people. I started out working with them, so I saw how it should be done. But I also knew, coming at the school that I went to in Los Angeles after I graduated from Northern California, that we needed to get back to the community. And that our people of color weren't always offered the same opportunities because we didn't have them. And Bill Witten would always give back to the community or pull people out of LA Trade Tech or Fast Institute. And it was my obligation to do the same thing. There was no rhyme or reason to a lot of our work because we were coming up with ideas from scratch. Whether it was Michael Jackson's gloves, the socks, the military jackets. You know, Michael was a brilliant man, and he had input in this also. But to see this, and you know, when we started we would go to Africa, we'd go to these different countries. Oh, he would go, and we needed to not forget where we came from to understand where we were going. And so we were able to create these amazing things in our workshops, which nobody had ever done before, you know. And at the same time, I was the designer who created things for Nancy Reagan inaugural gown, so I was able to see both sides. And I was just blessed to be a small part of it. What I didn't realize was how important family unity was, and support groups. And this is what I think we're lacking a little bit these days, because the family unit and your people behind you are the ones who also support you. And that's what I'm dedicating my time to now, with my work as far as the museum in Orange County, which has never been done, but as you know, never have they had a African American museum or cultural center in Orange County or Santa Ana. You know, the Baptist Church started it. You know what I mean? When it comes to that's how Santa Ana was founded, and one of the reasons why it was founded. So there are, and I could have done it here in Los Angeles, but I chose to start there because of the challenge, and also people want to know. You and your listeners are, you know, everybody should be able to understand our history and where we're coming. I mean, that helps explain a little bit to you. We have great mentors like Michael or Billington or Mrs. Houston, as Celeste, and so many that I've worked with who are positive, Eddie from Novak. There's so many people, so I'm blessed.
Brother, I was just wondering, how are you, brother?
I actually remember saying I just turned 55.
So you're a young man.
Yes, I was very young when I started. I was 20.
You know, to know so many of, you mentioned Liz Taylor and all of them, and you did design for them. How old were you when you started? Matter of fact, I was going from the Bay Area, San Jose to Los Angeles. I worked a full-time job up there, and I would come down here and work when I wasn't working up there. So about 20, 21, 22, during the time of Thriller, I think it was. And I just was determined. I was going to college and had a line of clothes in Macy's department store and stores here in West LA and in Palm Springs at the same time. I didn't sleep. I just worked. I graduated from design school about a half a year early because it's been conducting my classes and working at the beginning at the workshop that I worked at. Ironically, not only where we work with Bill's clothes, we work with Bob Mackey's things and Red Turner, you know, from Cheryl Burnett Show, Diana Ross, Luther Vandross. So all these things I was able to see from just working in the workshop, and I was sweeping the floors. I was taking the trash out. I knew that knowledge was worth more than makeup to understand how things were done. So even if I didn't do it, I needed to be able to tell somebody how to do it. Yes, sir. You know, you just proved the point that I was telling our young people. One of the keys of success is that you hang around successful. Just be there and keep your mouth shut, your eyes open and your ears open. And if you humble yourself, and people will always help a child. There's very few people that will not lower their wing to a child. I have found that in life, you know. While I'm thinking about it, Mr. Holman, I would like you to take this number down because I know someone that's going to want to meet you. He owns his own television station and everything, and they're getting ready to go into movie productions and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And The number is 313
313
um, 868 6.
Okay.
And we're going to text you his private number.
Okay, wonderful.
And his name is R.J. Watkins.
Okay.
And you may already know him, I don't know, but I know if I had not met him, he's so down to earth to be in such a position as he's in. I, like you, I mean, I wouldn't have never thought I would be meeting, Miss Celeste Houston and meeting you through her, and now you and I had the same barber. Oh, by the way, Sue thanks the world of you, brother. He.
I think the world of him also.
Yeah, he. You somehow by marriage related to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or you're in the. Tell us about that.
Well, I tell you, that's really interesting. I guess it goes back to the beginning. I was raised Catholic, as my mother was Catholic, and my father, my stepfather, who raised me, I should call my dad, since I was 3. His daughter, Judy, married Nathaniel Muhammad, and her name was turned to Haria Muhammad. And so we grew up with them. They were much older than us. And, during the 70s and 80s, in the 70s, we lived in Missouri, or Kansas City. We were closer with them. And the grandchild, Darish, and they came to live with my father, or came to live with us out in California. So we were able to understand, even though we were raised Catholic, understand about Judaism, about the Nation of Islam. So we all around all of this. And so that's why I've went to so many different religions, and all of it, because our parents always taught us to and took around different parts of the country, and had us in books all the time to understand things, and took us to different churches and temples and mosques to understand, and had us around people, so we would always have a broader understanding of not just our little island we lived on, but a bigger part of the world. So that is how I was connected with him. And as a matter of fact, I think I asked recently, I've kind of lost contact with him lately, that we would get us back in contact with him. And so but an amazing man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was an amazing man. That was the first time in my life when we were growing up. But once again, we were about 20-some odd years different. So I was a little guy, little kid walking around looking at him. I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. So I didn't totally understand everything, but my parents did, and to explain things to us. And that's why, I am so blessed and humbled by all of this. My cousin was the first 4-star black general, General Chappie James. And so we had other different leaders in our family who our parents, even while we were in school, went back to school themselves in college and worked full time and took care of us. And so they said, well, if we can do it, you can do it. And whether it was Nathaniel Muhammad or whoever else in my family, or Chappie James, General Chappie James, the late, we always had people to look up to, so we were kind of blessed. So we were a little more unusual than a lot of other people, family members, because we had so many people around. And we were always seeing things that I guess a lot of other people were not privy. My parents, while we were in Kansas City, formed an organization, I think it's called Metropolitan Citizens for Prison Reforms, where they took a lot of women who were in prison, of color, all white, of all different races, and they bought houses for them, halfway houses, so when they were able to get out, they had some clothes to wear. They provided phone, what have you, for phone numbers and an address where you could send where you have another address where they could send things back to you. They formed it with Hallmark Card, a lot of other major companies in Kansas City to help them, so when they got out of jail or went out of the prison institution, they would have a place to work at also. Again, with Nathaniel Muhammad and all other members of our family, they all worked together to try to help. So that was Skype.
Well, I want to ask you also about the title Sir Keith. When did you get knighted?
That was 2009, I believe. I was unaware that was even going to happen because I had been doing a lot of charity work and a lot of work in the community around here and abroad in different countries with helping with food and relations and whatever else I could work with. And so I was told about it, and I didn't really believe it. And so imagine this kid, I was probably one of the youngest people that was sitting with all these people from these different countries, and you sit and you just look around and go, wow, this is the person who just did and did this. This is the Cost Nobel with the Nobel Peace. I mean, all these people, and wow. And you know, when you kneel and you're united, I think you saw the pictures of it. You just are humbled. And I think that instilled in me to even do better work than I had done before, because I thought, oh, they're getting me, and I was probably the only person of color there. That didn't matter to them, because they were more, you know, they do royalty, they're going more on the deeds you do. More than what happened. I just was so taken back and honored, and it was just it was surreal. It's like, and then it happened, and I didn't, you know, that was one of the most amazing things, and then my parents were alive to hear about it. Was quite, I just, you know, just go back, just makes me think about that. It's just quite amazing. So I've always tried, like I said, from that point, and being around so many brilliant people, and Lord do, you know, these, and listening to them, and learning from their knowledge. And, you know, the thing is that I do go around the world building hospitals, and they go around building schools. I mean, people just think it's, you know, you just, and that's it. No, they do things around the world to help. It's not just, you know, just that, you know, wearing a garb, what have you, or getting medals. You know, you earn everything you get. And that was like this take. So, and I work at the Sam Simon Foundation here in Los Angeles also, and we give out, they give out 40 tons of food a month here in Los Angeles, of groceries. 40 tons. And he pays for that out of his pocket. He just passed away, as you know, earlier this year. So I'm always trying to do things around here and around the world. Whatever I can do, whatever small amount that I can do, I do.
What was his name again, Mr. Holman?
Yes. His name was Sam Simon. He was the co-creator of the Simpsons TV show. And also he was writer on anger management. And he took his personal fortune and did deeds and did things around the world before he passed away, which was 58, I believe. He died of cancer. So he was very young. And his desire was, I believe, and I think they're listening, the foundation is listening on the phone also, but was to give away much money, of $100 million, to help organizations around the world and animals. So he, you know, he was quite an amazing man, and just to take 5 trucks, never without fail, 4 money from him, and he would not take one dime. You know, he had hundreds of millions, but never did he take a dime. Did he take a dime from anybody? He always gave. And that's quite amazing.
You know,
they can hear him on the video, but it's kind of muffled, like the mic is too close to it.
you say it's too muffled. Just a moment, Mr. Holman. We want to make sure that the microphones are getting right. Would you help us with the test? Say something.
Yes. Hello?
What about that? How was that?
Check it out.
It's coming through fine? Well, some of the people, they're saying that it's sounded a little muffled. Maybe I had the mic too close to the... How's that, brother?
I'm waiting for the low side here.
Okay. Mr. Holman, be patient with us.
Sure.
You know, the one thing that I have found, and I would like to share this with many of those who interview people. Let your guest speak. Let the person that you brought on for the people to hear, let them do most of the talking. You know, it is you'll be surprised what people will share with you if you let them talk. You know,
That's fine.
that's better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, Mr. Holman. Please tell, how many countries have you visited?
I'm not even sure yet, but it's a few. You know, and I've found that what people want around the world is peace, love, a family unity.
Excuse me, go ahead.
And that's what I found more by traveling countries or dealing with people from, I don't care whether you're in Nigeria and or you're in the south of France or you're in the Philippines, wherever that, which was quite amazing people. That was right before the hurricanes and the horrible tsunami and the earthquakes that hit. I was actually working on a visit down there. Everywhere I go to, I try to take, or I insist that part of the proceeds of whatever I make go to back, and where I can actually go out and walk around and see it doing something productive. I think that is the key. Like Sam Simon was able to see so many things come in fruition. Because you can, you know, to me, I want to be part of that. And part of the reason why I am doing working on this museum in Orange County, or working with the city officials down there, or being offered to go to different countries, or as you know, some of our things are the Smithsonian. I was just with the wonderful Mary Wilson recently, and I think we're working on something. She's on the plane right now. But with the Supreme, she's another one who helped me when because she wanted to preserve her history and the history of the Supremes, and her things right now in the Grammy Museum. So if you go to the Grammy Museum and see her collection, is quite is that a lot of people, as whether it was Heavy D, who was another amazing person, but like him, and I really liked Whitney Houston. I tried, or New Edition, the guys from New Edition, or another amazing way. A lot of things that might have been destroyed. And when I say that, I mean a lot of times we don't realize that whether it's Little Richard, as I worked with the Grammys when he got his big award and he wore my suit, we try to save things and put them in museums or allow them to be displayed where people sometimes can touch them, not all the time, but they can get up close to things and they can understand that and see the work. I mean, a lot of them, the masters that I work with are obviously no longer, the witness is no longer here, Michael Jackson, a lot of other people. But a lot of people have stories behind them. I will tell you a little short story. When I was a little kid, we had left Montana and we'd moved to Kansas City. And my parents always had us watch the the Ten Commandments, the Wizard of Oz that we use every year, and there was something else. And I always thought, I would be the little kid, and I thought, somehow, I thought Oz was Hollywood. And I remember the Jacksons came to perform with Lionel Richie and the Commodores back in the 70s, and I was able to meet them. We were backstage with their manager of the Commodores. My mother fixed food for everybody and brought it backstage with them. And I thought to myself, between then and love, I said, well, one day I've got to get to Hollywood. What am I going to do? But my parents wanted me to go into law school, and I went to Washington University there because they have a great law program. And so I just thought to myself, somehow I'm going to get there. And I came to Los Angeles. I did not know that the woman who I would eventually work with, before I worked with Bill Wilkins, mother was the woman who back in school was the one who made them. And she was a Latina woman. And she was on the side of the stage all the time, picking up the sequins when Judy would dance or whatever, and then picking up and sewing back on the shoes. That's why there was a few pairs of shoes because of that. And I didn't know what they were working with. They were making Michael. That would be the mother of the mother that created that stuff, and the daughter I work with Michael's things, the Patty LaBelle or the people who did all the different people we work with. The original dress with Diana Ross would come out in the and throw my first one broke, I think. And if we look to be honest, people went crazy with it. So I never dreamed. I dreamed as a kid I was going to do it. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. That's what I should say. I knew I needed to get to LA, but I couldn't figure. When they moved to the Bay Area, my parents said it's Los Angeles. I was disappointed. So that's why I keep going back and forth. And I think now that I look back upon it, it all happened for a reason because we didn't need to be here. We needed to be in the Bay Area. My brothers, sisters, and family were. And so, I'm just now as coming full, at 55, looking back on the history of Michael or with New Edition or Johnny or and Mary Wilson helped so much, or Eddie Murphy, or all the other people who helped me. It's been a great time, and like the preserving things now. I mean, still creating wonderful new things. I got new projects that are coming up; they're amazing also. But I don't want to forget that could have been preserved for people to see, because sometimes that little inspiration for a young child is all they need to be able to dream and know that there's somebody who kind of thinks like them.
Well, Mr. Holman, it's one thing that I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me, that civilize means to teach the knowledge and the wisdom of the family of the planet Earth. And the one thing that I have noticed among the people who are, wealthy in the sense of having not to so much worry about where the next meal is going to come from, or not having to worry about so much as losing a job, that kind of thing. When you have how easy to get along with the majority of people are when they are not burdened with all of those worries.
It's interesting you say that, because some are, and some I think you're blessed with a positive way of life and energy. You have a lot of money or you don't. But if you're in a good mindset, I think, of course, the money does help. Don't get me wrong. But I think the positive spirit is what even gets you farther. And, like this is Houston, taught me or helped with me, or Mary Wilson, who did not remember that she wanted to put a lot of people of color, people together to designers. I have recently reminded her of that. I think that when other people come before you, like your people like yourself, or people like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or the Pope of whoever, that they, I think sometimes we get so competitive with each other, and we're trying to top each other, but we should help each other. You know, if somebody needs something, I'm usually there for that. But and the people who I've worked with or who I choose to deal with in this point in my life, and I've always tried to, are usually I kind of like-minded. You know, I do realize I've worked with some people that have been not that easy to work with, but a lot of times you never know. You know, one of the things I think is you never know what somebody's thinking in their head or what's going on with them. Is the record selling? Is it not selling? Is there a problem with the record company? What's really kind of going on? Is it a family issue? Part of the deal of a designer, or at least for me, working with people successful, or their albums are going up, or they're going down, or the TV shows are going up or going down, is trying to understand what's kind of going on with them. I don't need to know the personal details, because people ask me about this person or that person, and I just say I was hired for a job to do this or that. I'm creating this. I'm not into this or whatever they do, except that sometimes it does affect if you don't understand what's going on with them. You know, and when people are successful, as you're saying, whether it's monetarily or just with their careers, I believe it can be sometimes easier because they don't have, like you said, they don't have the normal stresses, but they have stresses on their own. But they like you said, to be successful means you want to be around other people who are doing the same thing or you're learning from. And yes, on one hand, what you're saying is true. On the other, it depends on kind of what's going on with them at the same time, too.
Well, that's one of the reasons, woman. You know, I've a man get past his necessities, the need or the worry over his necessities, then it would go up bringing peace on earth. And listen to people, just like, look what we've learned just from listening to you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, a lot of times we cut off our own. It's just like a closed fist. Won't nothing get out, but can't nothing get in. But a closed mouth leaves an open ear. And if we learn to listen when it's successful people come around you, listen. People don't mind sharing their stuff. Look at that you couldn't even give him no donation.
Yeah.
All he wanted to do was give something back. The trouble is, when people who want to give back, when come to you to try to give you something, they need to have witnesses around them, lest you go back and accuse them of something they're not guilty of. Just so you can haul them in the court to bring something against them.
Yeah.
You know, wealthy people they are actually, many of them would come and help. But they've been many of them have been so gun shy of it because of false allegations and all that kind of thing. Because people want to pick your pocket. But we can change them. It's a whole lot of things that can change if we would just start talking to each other. And when the other person is talking, you know, it's many things that I would maybe like to ask you, but I would much rather you share with me some of the things that you deem important that would help many people. You know, and that's why I'm some of the other things, if it's something else that you had in mind, that you wanted to say, to this audience? I would like you to say it.
And that's good. And I still, if you are certain questions about people, I would definitely be open to talking, discussing that. I want to say this. It is very, at times, as you know, well, the next time you come to Los Angeles, and if you have time to bring you over to the city, to the Tony Nicholas, to Bears Nicholas Brothers office to work for the city of Los Angeles, I would like for you to come to one of our food drives. And when you have 400 people waiting in 400 grocery bags of vegan food, you know, of fresh produce, and you see these people waiting in line in our own country, and we're blessed that we have Mr. Simon or other programs like the Food Bank or whatever to help people. At the same time, you know, this is I believe one of the greatest countries in the world. But there should be no need for, and I don't want to get political into this, but there should be no need for people hungry. You cannot give people jobs. It's hard for people or to do their homework, because the little kids, they're going to adults, if you are hungry. If you don't have clean clothes. If you don't have clothes, period, or shoes. So I believe, I love the amazing things that we've created that are around the world now that I've done. Our collectors have wanted, are gotten, or whatever, and are you see in museums, or, well, you know, it's all over the place, from Macau to whatever. I love that. At the same time, I am also concerned, or I also realize I want to help these people understand that there are people or places for them to go to for food. We're already up to 11 already, so we really can't take hardly anybody else. But, and they're trying to get more, you know, now that Mr. Simon has passed away, they're looking at me. But at this point, you know, the thing is, help, let's take a new generation of these kids are people that are going to be taking care of us when we get older, and need guidance, and need help, and need, you know, back years ago, I was blessed to have both my parents, my mother and my father, and a wonderful stepmother, and a wonderful dad, you know, I mean, father and dad, you know, my stepfather was my father. So I had four that were on me. Some people don't even have one anymore, you know, and they're hungry. We were blessed to have everything we wanted. But, you know, in our house, it was either when we grew up, it was either when we graduated from high school, you either go to college, go in the military, get a job, or get out. There was no in between, laying around not doing anything. Once again, we were fortunate, and we had good people around us, like my sister's brother's older, Haria, and Nathaniel. So we had people around us that we were extended family, my sister's side, my father's and all that, and my father. But a lot of people don't have that. So I would like to see more people mentor people, and I would like people to separate, if they can, when people are offering funding or money for universities or schools or whatever, no matter what the personal, I should say this, because I'll probably be curious for this, but I believe you separate the person from what's being offered to help the community sometimes, if that makes any sense to you.
I'm agreeing with you that we as a society, you know, the American experience, especially for Black people, we are in a unique position in this country, having suffered so many things. When I say suffered so many things, many people equate suffering with the just one meaning. I mean, being mistreated and all that kind of thing. But suffer in the sense that it was meant in the Word of God means experienced. You know, everything in life is an experience. That's what life is. It's experience. we have experienced so many things. And instead of, if we don't sit down and just whine or cry about it, but learn from it, then we are in a unique position to fix what's broken in this world. You know, mentoring, for instance, you brought up mentoring. We should take to the next level. Society as a whole should consider every individual their responsibility to make sure that we set up a system whereby every individual can reach their fullest potential. Now, that's what we're supposed to be going for. The ideal thing is that the society becomes the mentor. Even when you take a man out of society and put him in jail, you're going to abolish slavery? Abolish slavery. If you put that man to work in jail, show him that you as a society are actually trying to rehabilitate him and pay him a salary. Pay him a salary for the work he does. You may not give it to him while he's in there, but let him know it's in an account for you. When you get out of here, you will have your pay. It will be waiting on you. And this endears the society to the man. What that says that, yes, they took me out of society and took me into their custody. And instead of mistreating me, they helped me to see that I was wrong for whatever it was I did. Then when he comes out, he got some startup capital. You can even, I mean, there's so many things we can do for each other. I'm not going to browbeat you with that. I'm simply saying that with so many things having been mistreated, that we can speak with authority on mistreatment. And if we suffered it, then we should know better than to mistreat anyone. And you know, I'm just, you know, I mean, just like the disrespect we have shown to our own people. We talk about other people, Caucasian people disrespecting us, but we disrespect us too. And that needs to stop. You know, I'm so proud of President Obama. I'm so proud of you, brother. A young man that has, you know, I mean, you've worked sweeping floors. I've swept floors. I did maintenance when I was 13 years old, back in my own school. I was in Vietnam on my 19th birthday. So I understand the Black history and what you were trying to do with over there, putting up that museum of African culture, African American culture museum. I want you to keep us abreast and come back and talk to us about what you need from the community as a whole.
Well, thank you so much.
Because, and I'm not saying that to dismiss you either. I'm saying that while it's in my mind to tell you that, look, we want to help. I want to help do anything that will change our mindset from a beggar and from a person of hopeless to an entrepreneur, to a person who, as the old saying goes, the going has been tough. But because the going has been so tough on us, if we survived it, we had to get tough. Now the tough can get going. That's what we need to do. We've toughed it out. Now 400 years of slavery is up. And God's word that said we would be in today, his word also said we would come out with great substance. Substance is not just substance, is understanding. And listening to you talk about life and the people you have met and the places you have been, I want you to send us some slides, or if you have a film of it, when they knighted you. I want to put that on there. I want to put that on there and show our people. You know, if God gave Caucasian, there it is. Do you have some slides of it, or just the one?
I think I just the one in it.
Okay.
I mean, there is the video.
Yes. We're looking at it now.
Oh, well, great.
Yes, sir. And I want our people to understand something. Don't resent the fact that when God gave people rulership over you and I, don't resent that. If God saw fit to put us under them, then he did it for a reason. How you gonna, you notice you go and apply for a job and they ask you the first thing, how much experience do you? Okay. Well, if he intend for us to come out with substance and come out able to rule, then we need to be a ruler and learn some things. We need to learn what it's like to be up under somebody. And especially if someone mistreats you that has authority over you. It's just like those officers who mistreat our people, like that video you've been seeing that's done went viral over the news about this young man got tackled by an undercover police officer, and he was black. And you have never seen people like at least Caucasian. You seem to see any of that now. But if you understand the injustice and how bad that looks, then the lesson was taught. That was what that was for. That was the lesson. And if you think that looks ugly when other people do it, then if and when you get in authority, how about showing people the right way to do it? Instead of copying the way of those who you condemned. And this is what this is about. You know, there was a time, brother, when I'd have stood up here and might have thought of a successful young black man like yourself or whatnot, there's some Uncle Tom or all of this kind of foolishness. Instead of recognizing that in order for you to survive in a world that everything is against you, there are some concessions you had to make. I understand that. But that you have forgotten where you come from and who you are and all of that, you couldn't forget that if you wanted to, because everywhere we go in this world, we are reminded that, hey, you let you go. When, now I'm saying when Allah gives you and I the kingdom, remember how it felt to be mistreated by someone that felt free to do so simply because they had it in their power. They had you at a disadvantage. And whenever you have people at a disadvantage, you treat them like you would be treated. You remember when you was at a disadvantage. You treat people like you wanted to be treated. And this world will begin to change. And it will be a change for the better. And it will be a permanent change. because you take away dissatisfaction and you take away war. You take away man's inhumanity to man when you take man's dissatisfaction. And whenever you have one dissatisfied person in your society, and that dissatisfaction will spread if you don't think that the individual's rights mean anything. You talk to that man and find out what it is that he's dissatisfied with. And you do all that you can to make sure that whatever problems he has is fixed. That's the duty of government. That's the duty of a ruler. Just as much little towards the head immediately looks down there and goes and rub it and use the other members, uses. And so, but I ain't, this is your interview, brother. I'm just,
It's amazing. And I want to say this, I wanted before I forget this, I talked to some officials in the city of Santa Ana, and he wanted me to let people know that not only because of the Baptist churches down in Santa Ana, but also because of the military bases, they would center themselves around down there. And there's a special woman down there. I've not met her yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Dorothy Mulkey, a citizen down there who was the woman who advanced the fair housing practice as well as today back in the day. And I think she's one of the oldest living black African-American citizens down there. And because that some of the practices were changing as far as being able to get into homes or apartments and things like that. And so I want to say that that's the kind of people that we need to honor and respect their like fairs who in this day they were at the studio and they signed their, there was amazing tap dancing duo, and that son is my dear friend. When they were going to move the studio, once they signed their contract, and they weren't even served in a restaurant there. And their father, and the head of the studio was horrified when he found out that he had to sign these big cards, and they wouldn't even serve him food. And they were leaving. I believe the story is they were leaving the restaurant. The facility there at this movie studio. And he went and got them, and he brought them back. And I don't know if he fired the person who just refused to serve him or made him serve him. And these are the things. You're talking about people. Things have never been. Michael Jackson's glove had never been done. This woman was, before that, you weren't able to live where you wanted to live at. You had all these. When you talk about first. And other people, entertainers and people and politicians that we both know of, who did. And every time you do what you do, or you lay what they say about you. And I say that because you have to have a tough skin. This is not for the meek of heart. Tough skin, and also with God above you, the higher power, Allah, whatever you want to. With energy, for whatever you want to say, that you believe in, which it is what it is to different people. Standing being the first person to do something, I have to work on this project in Orange County. I have just done something here in LA or Detroit, Chicago, whatever, and I would still like to do things in their cities or whatever. But it's a challenge because of what it's known for to me and all people who want to understand more. We have lost so much of our past, and I say that, and even in not just blacks, but of all races in America, because we changed so much, and we don't want to honor our grandparents or great grandparents or whatever. We just want to do, some don't. But to me, yes, you're going to get going to be called this. Now, Jesus Christ was called that. That, you know, people around, leaders around the world, murdered or stabbed or shot or whatever, or arrested because they stood up their belief and what they knew was right for them, or what the energy had sent them, a higher power for them to do. So I think a few years ago, I had people ask me to do this, I probably would not have done it. I knew the challenges were great. But at this point in my life, I'm ready to take on this and to and having people in my life like Mary Wilson or Mrs. Houston, Celeste Houston, or even my mother, my father, whatever, you know, or you. When I say whether it's me, my dad, my father, people like that are the people who I'm blessed. I think if I didn't have so much behind me or so many people, that I don't know if I could have been where I'm at right now. Because I'm not going to say I did it all myself. That energy and that positivity, and you know some of the people I'm around already. We already connected, you know, with even entertainment-wise. We don't even have to go there, but you know what I mean. So therefore, that is a blessing. And you know, if I have to endure this or that, or people say it's okay, because you know what, you will never, ever, ever. Some people are going to like you, some people are not. Of you, they're going to support you or they're not. I don't care what race or what color, what religion you are. I believe we're all created for a purpose, and it's up to us to either to take it to and to find an opportunity to do this or that or not. You know, and so what you're doing, you know, people might not understand you or what you're doing, but you know, you're doing it because and what you believe in, and you've been blessed to have wonderful people around you also. And that separates a lot of people from that they have the opportunity and they take it. I was with an actress one day, and she said to me, she said, I didn't kind of get it at the point, but now I do. She said, you know, when a door opens, walk through it, because you don't know if that door is future or it might be locked. And so I believe the only thing that can happen is people are going to say yes or no. If they say no, then I say go next. And that's my philosophy. And I think you're a very humble man. And talking, you know, I kind of did my little research also, and talking with our mutual friend, and other people, I understood more about you that I didn't know before I heard about you. When I heard the stories and the things that you've done in the community here, and where you live, I was very taken back by your struggles and the things you and your family have went through, and the things that you've done also. You know, right now, but you know, and I'm humbled that you even took the time to talk to me.
Well,
so I'm equally not talkful.
Well, brother, I'm gonna tell you something. I've learned in the experiences that I've had is that I don't care what we think we know. Almighty God, Allah knows best. And when He said, "As you would that men do to you, do ye also unto them," that sounds so simple, but it applies to in general. And so, you know, talk to me, I'm humbled. I thank you for you took the time to talk. Mr. Cosby, he didn't know, none knew anything. And so regardless to our station, I think our station is, we should never forget that if one of us is this, if any human being is royal, then all human beings are royal because they all came from one. That's not me making that, saying something that just sounds good to me. That's something I've read, Word of God. It says that God made all nations of men from one blood. Then we are the human family on this planet. And people talking about looking up to Jesus or looking up to Moses or looking up to them. Those brothers and sisters, you are of the blood of Jesus. And so, we should, as the book said, how can you say you love God whom you haven't seen and you hate your brother that you walk with every day? So, I'm through acting on emotionalism. It's time now for us to act on knowledge. And so, brother, I really appreciate you taking the time, to, when we contacted you, Miss, she that you would talk to. I don't know if she, you and her talk, but before we called, so happy. And I've met a lot of the stars of Motown that I grew up helped to shape my way of thinking through their music. And like Mr. Pep Harris, Joe Pep Harris of the Undisputed Truth. I was when Billy Paul was there, or was it this other? No, it was another event that they was having at the station, and I happened to attend, and I was standing up next to him just talking. Me and him was talking, and come to find that Joe P. Harris of the Undisputed Truth, and I was just surprised at how down to earth he was. Just like with all of the people that you have met, you talk to us like we. I really appreciate that, brother. I really do. I'm just, matter of fact, you remind me of one brother look like him. But it's nice. If we ever going to sincerely, brothers and sisters, ever going to be able to work together, we got to first be able to talk with each other without trying to, with some ulterior motive, just talk with each other. Don't try to pick each other's pocket. Just talk to each other. Don't try to, don't, I'm saying this to all of them. Meet a brother or sister that's a star, or that's a well-known personality. Don't start scheming on how you can get something out. Don't do that. Just meet. The best thing you can get out of any human being is friendship and brotherhood. You don't have to try to pick a friend's pocket. But just like me, I don't ask people to give me anything. And unless I'm trying to do something for them, then I'll ask them to help me to do something, give me something. But I work. I believe in working. We work for what we get, not beg for what we get. Give me a little help here, Mr. Holman.
As you know, I started with the workshop, and I invited you, and I knew that you could not come. And I sat there yesterday. I'm usually pretty private about stuff because I'm like you. I like to sit back and listen because there are some people, they learn more about you by listening to what you're saying. They ask you how you're doing, and you go into everything going on. They pretty much know everything about you. And when listening to you, you just think. And I to the new ambassador, April Stephan, yesterday. Journalist, I think, hired for BET, and she's now an ambassador, goodwill ambassador. Oh my gosh, she's going to kill me for this. Not kill me, but a country in Africa, I have to think right now. And her tireless effort to help people inspires me. I grew up to work with Michael Jackson. He's a good friend of mine, and she helps me sometimes with family. And amazing. You know, having great people around is a key. And once again, you know, sometimes we're so bamboozled by the media that created it. Sometimes you can't even get in the newspaper unless you're paying somebody to get in the newspaper, or not newspaper, but some magazines or on the internet. Some of these. I think that people just take the time out to get to know each other a little better. I feel that respect is earned a lot of times, but I've been through. I didn't send you. I think I sent you, but I did not send you my entertainment bio. I've worked with I don't know how many hundreds of entertainers or actors or whomever, and I've done. I can't even tell you how many videos, TV shows, award shows, whatever. So I've seen people come and go. I've seen people that are alive still, or tragically, or whatever. I've seen so many different things because I've worked with so many people that I just would like for people to get the chance to know each other and help each other and just show a little more respect. Now, I realize we're in a difficult time right now, challenging times. We're getting older now. Our parents are older, having issues now to deal with our aging parents. Our kids that can't focus more than 5 seconds away from a telephone. You know, they communicate with each other across and texting each other now. But I think if you get to know each other, to take a little time away from electronics and actually listen and form your own judgment instead of just what you see and hear with other media. A lot of times to push an album, to push a new product, their ideas of what they want you to think. I think you'll be a little more open. I never 100% believe everything in media read. You know, I want to know the bottom line. That's I appreciate your show because you took the time to somebody recently, and you showed both different sides of it, and you didn't have to do that. And that showed that whether you believe this person or what this allegation was or that or whatever, that you were also open to show that you were not one-sided, that you were open to different sides. Because a lot of people, a lot of different things, and I believe you take to your grave. When I say that, things that are told you in confidence, keep to yourself. And I obviously don't mean, you know, anything dangerous or whatever, but, you know, there's certain things you don't say yourself up for money. You don't just do this just because, now I realize you need a new refrigerator and things, but don't tell your brother, obviously, because of that. But I think that by you showing those things, that's, for me, that's amazing also. Because I don't understand, to understand the nature of where it comes from, how it's created, and history.
Well,
I'm
not, you know, it's just like, if I tell you this or I'm that, I told you I'm a Muslim. And the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible are the books that I consider as the authorities for my life. And the Holy Quran says, this person brings you news, lest you harm a people or person, and later be harmed. Now, when none of us knows, but all have heard the Bible say that there is none righteous, no, not one, and that includes me. Okay, if I bring you, then before running with it, you should make sure that it's the truth. And if one side, then that automatically makes you suspect that they're supposed to bringing you something about he said or she said. Well, then he said or she said, then before with that, then I have to ask her a few questions, or I have to ask him a few questions, especially the accuser. If you accuse a person of something, then you should have some evidence, because that's the first thing I'm going to ask for is, okay, that's what the police ask for. If you go and where evidence that he's going to want some evidence. You can't just say, you got to have some witnesses or evidence that this was done. And then we can determine whether it's something that needs to be looked further into. And so that's just, brother. I'm not going to just run with something somebody tell me about you, especially something evil. People don't generally volunteer good stuff about you, but they'll volunteer some evil stuff. And generally it's somebody who don't like you. I always, okay, having children and having raised children, I know that my children, they would say, so-and-so did so-and-so to me. My first question is, well, what did you do that made them do that? And when they say nothing, I so walked up to you and did this to you and you didn't do nothing. Okay. They say, go get them and bring them over here. Pretty soon they stop telling me stuff. They know that. But anyway, I believe in giving people justice. If a person, Mr. Holman, to me, I'm not going to run with that. I don't have to know you personally. I'm going to just go to parakeeting something just because I told it to me. I just can't do that. I know.
I was April 7th, the ambassador with Kenya, just before, because I think she's listening right now, so she just called me up. So you guys can't believe you don't remember. When I was growing up, and my father and my dad, my father, both, we had a thing called when we did something wrong or something happened. My parents tried, and we also had they had, but we had so if my parents weren't there, they were working or they're traveling, or nanny, whomever was at the house, was taking care of us. We had a thing, and that's when our whole family, family members, they would, my parents would take us up into a big room, and they would sit down and get all the facts and evidence. This sounds very crazy to you, but this is what we did and what happened, and the facts whether we can do it or what have you, because they wanted to know what was going on. So my brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters, and my, there was, you couldn't just take sides. You pretty much were very fair. So and then I guess what our punishment would be versus, both sides should be. And so coming from because my parents were also, my mother was from a legal background, and one of them was a judge, that, we just always had to maintain, even if there's no just, well, you could falsely accuse somebody, you'd be worse off by doing that. So we always as a kid, had to think about stuff. I chose to, or whatever I did, just and we'd have evidence and facts first. So, and growing up and coming into the entertainment industry, I was very careful about assuming, because the bottom line is, people can say they're worth $1 billion, but if you owe $2 billion, what are you really worth? You know, you can say it's entertainment that, that's more than financial stuff, but things, there's issues that come behind that. You know, my good friend was the Dallas Records and was part of in the 80s and 90s with Boyz II Men, New Edition, Gladys and all that. But always telling me, don't believe the hype, don't believe the hype. And not believing the hype and little, the people that are they need money. You know how many people, one of the first things I learned from someone that I was dating at the time, who was very wealthy, told me, we were the family also was in the entertainment business also, and she would say, you know, you can always tell where the checks are coming from, whether it's National Enquirer or whatever. There's ways of finding out stuff. And, you know, I guess I'm digressing when I say this, but, you know, we're just inundated with so much information now, you know, and you'd want to try to find out before you react to stuff, because I personally believe negative words and people talking down to you and making you feel like are attempting to make you feel, not making you feel, but attempting to, if you allow it. Those words are just like hitting somebody. So I'm careful a lot of times when I'm saying certain things. You know, I may lose them when I'm not always stick to these words that I try to, because abuse is abuse is abuse.
You're right. You know, I want you something also. I don't like to abuse myself, my people, or anyone. It's just like you consented to come in here, and I'm not going to embroil that I'm fighting in. No, sir. I'm not going to do that. You know, that's not your, you know, it's just like when we was over in Vietnam, and somebody, and now I wasn't a Muslim. I wasn't a practicing Muslim when I was in the Marines. And it went off. When I was in the Marines, I was just out of high school. And when I got back stateside, from being over there in Phu Bai, stationed in Phu Bai in the 3rd Combined Action, they call it. When I came back home, I didn't realize how much I had grown up from just what I saw, and you know. But we was rec room shooting pool, and they were about Muhammad Ali. Now, Cassius Clay. Some people would still call him Cassius Clay, and you know, Muhammad Ali. And now I was thinking while people was talking, you know, I used to like Clay, you know, that's what I was calling him too, Clay. And but I liked the fact that he talked and backed up what he said. And so some of the people were saying he should have went into the service like he was ordered to do, like Joe Louis did. And so before I knew anything, I had said, well, I thought that's what I was here for, so that he would have a choice. And that conversation stopped. I noticed that nobody else say anything, and I just went on and forgot all about it. But I know now that Allah gave me that to say. It's because, you know, look, everybody, I can admire. It's just like, you know, I'm amazed that you being such a young man could do so that designing clothes and stuff for people that we take for granted, that people come out there and they just got on something, but we don't see who made that form, who made all that possible. And I'm talking to a black man that has been been a designer for costumes and for clothing for people that were famous. And now I don't expect you to be out here preaching. I know you. That's not your. And I'm not going to pull you into that. No, sir. You are doing what you're doing what you need to do. It's just like Miss Houston and even Clint Eastwood. I wish I could interview him, but I was thinking about what he did, and what he said to people about when you vote for someone. He said in so many words that if you don't like a person, if you don't think a person is qualified for something, you don't have to vote for them. And politicians, whether they realize it or not, he said they work for us. And he told her, and he was talking to his people, and he was talking to them righteous, man. Said that they act like we are their servants when they supposed to be our servants. And I think a lot of people heard him. And I'm just I'm thankful that you have so many that think highly of you, brother. And black and white people, they have helped you. And I thank them for that. I thank them for honoring you. Over in England, people saw the picture of you being knighted by the Queen of England. Well, you don't. That's not a small thing. In their sight, and in any civilized person's sight, they know they don't do that to everybody. And so they honored you, they honored us. It's just like even when our president went to England, and I'm not saying that they have totally clean hands now, but because the first 200 years of our slavery wasn't to the United States, it was to England. That's what people don't realize. The United States came to birth in 1776. Before that, it was the colonies of England. But anyway, when our president went over there, when President Obama was making a toast to the Queen, and they started playing the song that God Save the Queen, that is we say Our Country, Tears of Tea, but that is actually God Save the Queen that they just changed the words to. And the president kept making his toast until he saw that everyone else had, they had stopped. And so he gradually set his ass down and he just stood there. And what made their points go up with me was that none of the British newscasts that I saw made fun of him. They just said nothing about that because they know that if he was not aware of that custom, that wasn't his fault. If they were going to do that, they should have made him aware that whenever that plays, everything stops. But obviously they hadn't made him aware of that. So that was a slip on their part, not his. But back here in the States, many of the news people was trying to make fun of him. And right, but he wasn't aware. And when he became aware, He stayed presidential and did down, and when it was over, he was. And I was just amazed at how, how well he has wore the title of President of the United States. Just like I'm proud of the way that I want you to know that you makes me proud. And
Thank you.
It's nice to see our people in dignified, not just a role, but exercising dignity, and that is something that we all should. We should all emulate dignified black men and women. That's the proper role model. No cursing and swearing and talking all up under our sisters' clothes and degrading one another. But encouraging the doing of good and admonishing one another to abstain from the evil. And that is what being a Muslim is to me. That is what Allah's word says to me. It's like those brothers over there in Syria and in the Middle East. Right. You can't on the one hand say that you are a Muslim and you carry a religion of peace, and then you got Muslims fleeing from you because you're trying to take their life. No. It's time to throw the guns down. And it's time to pick up the word of God and walk with that. Let his truth march on. And put them weapons and stuff down and stop trying to kill each other. And make it while you murdering one another. Now that's me talking. That ain't I'm not and a matter of fact, I haven't said enough on that with your presence here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to even bring that up while you are here with me, because I don't want you associated with something that a lot of times people blame you for what somebody else said. I don't want nobody blamed for what I say.
So I would say this. I would say when we talk about President Obama and the situation with that, I was getting a medal, and I was sitting next to some people from, I believe they were from Russia, it might have been Ukrainian. And the lady asked me, the dame asked me they're saying, and I said, no. I just sat there. I just kind of followed what everybody else was doing. You know what I mean? Because I do understand their situation, because their protocol in Europe is different from ours, and their ways, every country has their way, and I say this even in the design aspect, every country has their way of doing things. When you're in the Philippines, there's a certain protocol, and there's a certain way of doing things. When you're in Africa, I'm sure when you're in Russia, or you're in Ukraine, or you're in Mexico, because as you know, we're down there, well, we used to go down there quite a bit. Now, it's different. Some places you have vendors. The thing I think that we are lacking in our country or around the world is, more here, I think, is to understand the cultures and how to, as a designer, as well as clothes, as you know, I've done certain restaurants. I worked on hotels from here to Las Vegas, or some of the hottest places here in Los Angeles. On that other website, where I did the interior and exterior design work. I worked on building fountains that were, and I did not realize that some part of it had water coming out of the top of the Buddha's head, and it just appalled people. To me, it was artistic. I mean, it had already been done before, and it was something that the client wanted. So I didn't make it. Actually, a client wanted it, and I was provided for house, but the other people horrified who were Buddhists that somebody would even disrespect Buddha like that. So, you know, or importing things in from different countries as I've done in the past. So everybody has their own kind of, you have to understand the culture of Japan, how long they take to do certain things, or China, or of Africa, or you know, South Africa, Nigeria. Last night I was with so many people, and you know, journalist April Sutton, ambassador, now does a diversified tea event she has here, galas, here in Los Angeles, where she invites people from Africa or from the Caribbean, different, whether they're ambassadors or whomever she has come to the event. They're quite amazing, and I'll have to invite you to one time. And you know, you just see the culture of how you even prepare to meet somebody. You know, a lot of times we get into situations, whether it's clothing, you design a certain color, a certain design that people wear because of their beliefs, which is understandable, you know, or you do things that are, because we don't know any better. We only think that we are in this country, a lot of people think that this is, you know, you're only allowed what you if you don't, I'm trying to,
I know what you were trying to say.
Some of your experiences
Yes, I understand exactly what you're trying to say. Most of us, we don't have tolerance for what we don't understand.
correct.
And this is the one thing the American ideal is supposed to have taught us.
Correct.
To have tolerance for people that may have different views than your own. How do you know whether they are right or wrong if you don't take the time to understand not just what they say and what they do, but more important, what is the motivation behind it? What is the reason that it's said and done? You see, and that's what it took me some time to learn. It took me a long time to learn that, brother. You know, that it's not enough to just hear what a person hear what a person says, but you also need to why they say it. So not just see what a person does, but why are they doing it? It's just like now I can talk to the Ku Klux Klan, man, and have a civil conversation with them. Because if you want a person to stop being at war with you, and you want to make peace with a person, then the first thing you have to do is come to the table of reason and find out what is it that I'm doing that bothers you. And if they are a reasonable person, then when they tell you what you're doing that bothers them, if you can change it, it's just a simple matter of, okay, I won't do that no more. And I'm for peace, which means that I'm willing to make peace with people. It does not mean that I'm nonviolent, does not mean cowardice. Nonviolent does not mean that you won't fight under any circumstances. Nonviolent simply means that I will not be the first one to start a fight with you. But I have not said that I would not defend myself. And never make the mistake that my nonviolence means that you can do whatever you please to me, because that dog won't hunt here. So a man that is not, I like what President Roosevelt said, that speaks softly but carry a big stick. Meaning, you know, we will be cordial with you and whatnot, but if you attack us, we can defend ourselves. And we will. And so that, but going around the earth, the first step to making peace is to get understanding of each other's ways. When you go and visit people, don't try to force your way in man's house. Learn his ways. And if you can't tolerate his ways, don't visit his house. Because a man's home is his castle. And if you invite someone to visit you, learn and their customs. And that way, you may tell them, now, look, I know that you're used to doing things this way, but in our country, certain things are allowed. And you get that understood before they get there. Because if you let them in without making them aware of certain things that they cannot, that you can't tolerate in your country, if you didn't make them aware of that and you invited them there, when you invited them, you invited their ways there and you have to tolerate it. Or you tell them, look, we'll have to postpone this meeting and I will compensate you for your time or whatever, send you back, and we need to talk further before you visit us. That beats disrespecting people when they come to your home. You see, so these are things that, I've learned in the way of being. That's what civilized means, to learn each other's ways, teach each other the knowledge and the wisdom of the whole human family of the planet Earth, so that wherever you go, your visit will be welcomed instead of a source of discord. Because one man, they got an old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, one man's idea of civilization is another man's idea of savagery. When you can tell who's a savage and who's civilized, not by how people treat their friends, but how they treat their enemies, or those who they deem to be enemies. You see, and it be true. Now, you can't stop people from accusing you of something that you're not guilty of, but you can from true. You see, so Sir Keith, I want to let you have the last word on that. So,
first up, I want to thank your listeners, and thank the people here now, and the people in Europe and the countries that I've dealt with, and I hopefully will deal with in the future. And I will also say this, whether it's from Russia or China or wherever I've been, I've worked, people I've worked for, where I've gotten awards or been knighted from any countries. I will say that, recently, through dealing with different people and issues in family and senior citizens, people are going to say what they want to about you, and they can accuse you of this, they can accuse you of that, or they're jealous. You always have to understand their motives. Are they mentally balanced? Are they not? Did you really do something that people don't approve of? You used to get away with doing certain things, to do certain things, but now with media and Twitter and this and that, all these other things that I don't think are in the best interest of people in general, but they're here to stay. But I would say that you can't help what people are going to say about you or they're going to do to you. But what you can do is to change the way you react to what they say they do to you. And that's the key to me. I can't have somebody that snaps at that questions, but I can help how I'm going to react to what they want, their expectations of my reaction are supposed to be. I can choose to engage in this, or I can walk away and say, hey, I've been there before. I'm not going there again with you, and stop and disengage in a way that's not, harmful to you or the other person. And I think that is key. And also, everyone follow your dreams. Yes, you're going to have down periods. Yes, you may eat top ramen or whatever other kind of food or beans. Not I like that anyway, but whatever. Yes, you may go without sometimes, but there is no, for something that your dreams and you believe in, you're going to have to pay the price for it. And are you willing to? Are you willing to go against with the odds to make things happen? There's amazing opportunities in this country. At the same time, there's a lot of hindrances behind things. So to go for it, what's the worst thing that can happen is you fail. So then pick up yourself and get up and do it again. And the opportunity you're inviting your listeners to, and you don't have to be sitting here doing what you're doing right now, but you are, because of your love for mankind and your people, that are Muslim and that are not to understand. And I think that's a blessing, and I'm just happy to be here, and I thank you for this time with you. And I hope that we have affected one life in a positive way. Two would be great, but at least if one, then we've done our job for the day.
Well, I'm in total agreement with you, brother. We if we have any kind of advantage, then we should all. I'll go back to that proverb that I saw on the Twilight Zone, where this man was about to commit suicide, and he was a teacher. He was a professor, and he thought that he hadn't made any kind of difference, and he was standing before this statue that had an inscription on it, where it said, "Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity." And that statement is, to me, was a very deep statement, because humanity it does not denote any particular nationality or race of people. Humanity actually denotes character, like man's inhumanity to his fellow man. So humanity, and when you look at what, for instance, Adolf Hitler, what he was doing to people who look like him, he was murdering white people. That is to show you that racism is just another way of hiding the real problem. Is the character of inhumaneness to your fellow man, period. And it's just disguising itself under a disguise. It's a disguise that disguises itself, hiding up under another. But the real problem is the inhumaneness of one human being to another. And until we are able to effect some permanent and positive change in that, we ought to all be ashamed to die. After having been born into a world that's sick and left it in that same condition, not any better. And so that is, and so he, at the end of it, he saw in his classroom before he committed suicide, they showed the spirits of some of his students. Some had went on to win the Medal of Honor. Some had went on to invent great things. And they made him realize that his life had not he had gains for humanity. That's what the struggle is all about. It's about, are we going to allow ourselves, the thinking ones, to exist on the level of thinking animals, or are we going to actually live up to our full potential, which is to not be an animal, but to actually man this planet? An animal cannot take charge of anything because he cannot take charge of himself. But man, in his right state, man is the actual temple of God. And you don't have to look any further than man to find God when man is in his right state. Just like you have a house. Looking at that house long enough, they're going to see you. God's temple is these bodies that we have here. You keep looking long enough, you'll see God. So we are so blessed and happy that you took these 2 hours to talk with us, brother. We've been on here a couple of hours.
I know. I think that's the wonderful thing. I think, I know that there's something positive that's come out of this, and we have done something proud for our ancestors and the people that will probably come after us. And I think that this is I know that I have a good feeling from all this, and that's the key. Just like we were introduced Mrs. Houston, Celeste, their wonderful ranch for the horses. Just like she named one after me and that touched me, the little guy was born with green eyes. His name is Sir Keith the horse. That's the thing that was an honor for me as being knighted and serve others as I've been served before and talk to people. And I think that I know that is one of my purposes of my purpose in life is to help others. And see somebody even so higher than I've done. So once again, I appreciate the pictures, and I will need to please let me know, and I would love to take you and show you around to some of the things that I'm working on and some of the community outreach programs, and take you to the Granny Museum to see Mrs. Wilson's, Mary Wilson's, the premix that are down there also, which is gives and shows class and what's going on in the 60s and 70s and all this, and 80s when they were performing and what have you. And I'm just so proud of her also, and people like you who you give inspiration to the community.
Well, I thank you, brother, for coming on and sharing with us. And I would like you to. I hope that I can get you to come back and at some point and share with us and let the people who are listening that we want to get to know you. I also hope that you and the owner of that station will. Since they're getting ready to start making movies, I know they're gonna need designers for clothing, and I'm going to encourage him to call you. And, you certainly got the credentials for it. I want to make that happen, and I just thank you, brother, for coming on. I thank Miss Houston, if she's listening. Miss Houston, thank you for introducing us to Mr. Holman. And Mr. Holman, if you know, well, I know you do, anyone that we could invite on to interview, I wish you would give them Brother Jamar's number and ask them to give us a call and let us know when they would be available. And I don't, black or white, it makes no difference. It's just, okay.
I understand you. I think that, I think that's the way that you already. You're home from there. So, yes, I would definitely, I'm already thinking if there's some wonderful things in the community, here and abroad. So, I definitely do that.
Thank you. And I have a surprise that I'll be sharing with you once it comes to fruition. And because this is not the last time I want to talk with you. And once we get them off the ground, I want to share them with you. And right now, we'll just leave it. And thank you again for blessing us with your presence, brother.
Thank you, too. And then your audience have a wonderful, wonderful week. And 2 weeks, month.
Thank you. And may Allah bless you with you and your family and keep you safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think we're at the top of the hour, I think, Brother already D. I want all of us to remember that divided, we can't accomplish anything. Our proof of that is our history. Look at us all over this country, black brother and sister. You find one place where black people are in charge and doing well. Because if I knew of that place, I'd move there. If we want to do well, and to practice is well doing. You see, we can't keep conducting ourselves in the same way if we want to have a different result. If you want unity in the communities that we live in around throughout America, then we have to stop practicing and promoting that which causes disunity. We have to be willing to come to the table of reason and talk to one another. It is our time. It is your day. But you remember what the brother said that he was told? And he was told this by a Caucasian. When you see a door opens for you, go through it. I know what was meant by that. The door of opportunity. When the door of opportunity opens for you, go through it. Because that door may not ever open for you again. I'm going to see if you're going to hold up to your word. All of those of you who told me you was going to do what I asked you to do at that private meeting. That's the door of opportunity that's opening for you. It's your opportunity to see if I'm just somebody seeking to get money from you, or am I really seeking to try to help you? Put the funds in the account that you promised me you was going to do, and we will do what we told you we was going to do. Already had one brother call me about something he wants to do in the way of the maintenance. And I think he's going to be one of the first ones that I help. You know, we want to help create jobs for ourselves. We have to stop letting our jobless numbers always are the highest. Everybody else down to maybe unemployment 5%. We up at 9 and 10% unemployment because we don't make jobs for ourselves. So we're going to start making jobs for ourselves. That's what we're going to do. Many of you that are working on jobs that you report to, but you've had in the back of your mind something that you would like to do, a business you would like to go in. And I'm not talking about just in a passing fancy, but something that you've been trying to set up and putting aside something to go do. I would like to hear from you. And, we are not going to put, well, anyway, I'll leave that alone. Look, we have to start helping one another. Found out why more than likely the NAACP is not speaking up for Dr. Cosby. I wasn't aware, as I am now, that if you notice, you remember when I was letting you hear the pound cake speech? The people in the audience was, they was kind of enjoying it and laughing because he was telling the truth. And, I'll let you hear it again. Let's see here. This is called Excerpt from the Now Controversial Speech Given by Bill Cosby. And let's see here. It's funny how they changed who it was. But anyway, give me a minute there. I'm gonna put it up here for you. Just give me a minute.
In the old days, because behind every drawn shade was an eye. And before your mother got off the bus into the house, she knew exactly where you had gone, who had gone into the house. Parents don't know that today. I'm talking about these people who cry when the son is standing there in an orange suit. Where were you when it was 2? Where were 12? Where were you when he was 18? And how come you don't know he had a pistol? These are not political criminals. These are people going around stealing Coca-Cola. People getting shot in the back of the head over a piece of pound cake. And then we all run out and we're outraged. Oh, the cop shouldn't have shot him. What the hell was he doing with the pound cake in his hand? Brown versus the Board of Education is no longer the white person's problem. We've got to take the neighborhood back. We've got to go in there. It's right around the corner. It's standing on the corner. It can't speak English. It doesn't want to speak English. I can't even talk the way these people talk. Why you ain't where you is, go wild west. I don't know who these people are. And I blamed the kid until I heard the mother talk. And then I heard the father talk. This is all in the house. Everybody knows it's important to speak English, except these knuckleheads. You can't land a plane with why you ain't where you can't be a doctor with that kind of crap coming out of your mouth.
what was Dr. Cosby saying to us? When I was growing up, we had slang, man. I mean, hey, homeboy, what it be like? You know that's not proper English. What it is, man? Hey, man, I got to ease on. Hey, man, I'm crib. I think I'm gonna slide on over here to Snooky's house, or Snooky's crib. Hey man, you easing on down here to where it's happening at? It's some honeys over there, man. But when I got into my mom and daddy's house, I said, "How you doing, Mom? Hey, Daddy." Well, I understood that I was speaking different languages, and my mother didn't say, "Hey, what did it be?" No. That's all Dr. Cosby was saying. But when it comes to big business, they have a reciprocity. When it comes to people who rule, the United States has McDonald's, and over in Japan and Burger King and all that kind of stuff. You think Japan would let China America come over there, and business people from America, you think they would let you come over there and set up in their country, allow them to come over here and do the same? Sumitomo Bank. They have Sumitomo Bank right there in LA. I remember. But now, understand this. The black community has been kept on the level of consumers. That's why when we open up, when the average black person opens up a business, now, you can get angry with me, you can do whatever. I invite any Caucasian that you sitting about there with winning your job. I invite you to come in here and tell me that I'm lying, and stay on the phone and keep a civil tongue in your head. Any of you who accuse me, you have a right to be heard. And I have a duty, if I'm gonna stand up here and say these things, I have a duty to open up the airwaves while I'm saying these things. I have a duty to invite anybody that disagrees. Person try to open up a business in the black community. When you call wholesale price on things, you didn't know that your wholesale price wasn't the real wholesale price that white people was getting, and all of that. Any white people want to say that's not true? Come on. I'm telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what I know. Some of them tell on themselves by bringing the wrong receipt slip and that kind of thing. But anyway, much more than they charge Caucasian merchants, oftentimes 3 times as much. That way, when you set a price for resale, the retail price, your retail price has to be much more, and even your profit margin is not the same as theirs, because if you set the profit margin, if you set a retail price at the profit margin that would equal to what the profit they making, then your retail price would be so high, would nobody walk through your door. And so consequently, even when you put your price up there for retail, people come in and say, "Ooh, gracious, you high." That's by design. Till pretty soon, they have you saying, "Ah, man." Somebody said, "Why don't you go in business?" Say, "Oh, I don't want the headache, man. I don't see how they can do it." What you mean is you don't see how they can do it if they being charged the same thing wholesale that you being charged. But they're not charging their people the same thing wholesale that they charging you. And when that way, they keep you competent for the dollars of your people in your own community. And then they bring people from these countries doing business in, they bring them over here and set them up in business in your community and tell them they can come over here into America and say, and that is the reciprocity that they give, that sum that they give to all of these people from other countries while they doing business in those people's country. And so we are the victims of the business ventures of the corporations of America. And we pay the cost for them doing business, and they keep us from being able to do business among ourselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't have no place to let those people come in here and do business. They'd have to, if the playing field was level, we'd be creating jobs for our own selves and our people, and harder for them to get people, let them into their countries to do business. Now, is there anyone that wants to challenge me on what I said? Pretty soon you're going to realize that I don't just know all of these things because I'm just another person. You're going to realize that I truly am the Son of Man. And you are being judged. And I'm not judging you by your book. I mean, by my book and what I understand. I'm judging you by your book. Your book is your mind. Your understanding. You understand that what you are doing to me and my people is wrong. You understand that it's wrong. Because if it's done to you, you ready to go to war. So I know you know that it's wrong what you're doing to me and my people. You see? You have a lot that you're gonna have to answer for. You better stop what you're doing. I'm telling you now. You were told, don't do this in the day of the Lord. That's what you were told. And you want to holler you don't believe in men as lords. Well, look at your list. Lord Rothschild, Lord so-and-so, Lord this, Lord that. So I know you ain't going to come in here telling me that you don't believe that a man is the Lord. Okay, what was Jesus? I hear you in Jesus said, yet you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth. So Jesus was a man. Moses was a man. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were all men. And the Lord said, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Well, then he's the God of men. And I just have never known man to be able to submit to someone other than another man. Now, if you know something that I don't, you're welcome to come in here and share it with me. Now, Dr. Cosby told black people that this is our time. Listen.
Why can't you hit the streets? Why can't you clean it out yourself? It's our time now, ladies and gentlemen. It is our time. And I have good news for you. It's not about money. It's about...
You know why he said it's not about money? It's not that we need money. We got money. We just don't have unity, so our money does not benefit us. But if we were in unity with all of the money that we have, oh shoot, man, we could some of the finest hospitals, we could have some of the finest schools, we could have some of the finest communities. We got money, and we have people who know how to build. We have scientists like Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. We have scientists that we ain't never met. They're hidden away in corporate America because we don't have no corporations that go and bring them out and say, hey, brother, what do you need for a lab to go and do research on sickle cell anemia? What do you need to go and to be able to do research on the things that's troubling our people? Do you hear anyone accusing me of misleading you? Those of you who think I'm misleading anyone, come in here and tell the whole audience that's listening, come in here and tell the people what I'm misleading them in. Do you know how much I wish that someone would give me that opportunity? When they are on the air and whatnot, to invite me to come in and show they are saying that's wrong? How many people give you that kind of opportunity? Do you know of anyone else that's on the air that gives you the opportunity, that has expressed that anything that they saying that's wrong, you can come in at that particular point and correct them? Who else do you know of? Black, white, don't care who it is. Who? And you dare to tell me I'm not the Son of Man? You're going to have to answer for how you acting. Here, the people, the pound cake speech was given at an event that was given by the NAACP. Are you aware that the person who writes the speeches for the president of the NAACP is a white man? Do you not see some kind of conflict of interest there? I'm not saying white people cannot help us. All through history, white people have helped in the underground movement to free slaves. But when we talk to each other, when the head of the NAACP talks to us, should not it be him talking? Tell me something. Do you know what the term help means? When a person say they want to help you, well, if you want to help me, that means you ask me, what do I want you to do? It don't mean you come in here and start telling me what to do. You're not helping then, you leading me. Huh? Yeah, they messing with the power again. There's, all of a sudden now the power is blanking and going on. What's that about? Look, I want you to get me I want you to get a hookup where instead of taking 10 seconds for the backup generator to kick in, reduce that to kicking right in from when the power go off. Yeah. Because I don't want to be waiting on no 10 seconds. You know, reduce it to as much as you can reduce it to. Okay? All right. We got backup generators here. But sometimes we be talking and people, they want to play games. You're going to wish you had never played your games with me. You was told don't do that when I come. No sense in hollering you don't believe in the word of God now. You didn't have no problem believing in it when you was talking about your manifest destiny. Do you know what manifest destiny means? It means a written destiny. Where was your destiny manifest at? Where was it written? What manifest? It was written in scripture. And you boasted of it. Well, it was also written, thou shalt remember the Sabbath day, that you do no work in the day of work. And also told you, thou shalt not test the Lord thy God. So, okay, you keep on tripping. You know, even the word tripping, he shall be for a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Do you know what trip? He stumbled and he tripped and stumbled. You think these words using now are accidents? Is that what you think, dog? Out of dogs. And everyone that loveth and maketh up a lie. All this is an accident, do you? I just accidentally shut the mouth of everybody that claimed to be an expert, huh? That's just an accident. Let me let you hear something. Let me let Dr. Cosby finish talking to you first.
You're doing something that ordinarily we do. Get in somebody else's business. It's time for you to not accept this language that these people are speaking, which will take them nowhere. What the hell good is Brown versus the Board of Education if nobody wants it? I mean, this is the future, and all of these people who lined up and done whatever, they've got to be wondering, what the hell happened?
Tell you what happened, Dr. Cosby. The reason that, you know, Brown versus Board of Education, as he said, was a fight that was fought for us to get equal education and give us a level playing field as far as the mind goes. Well, okay. Then you notice corporal punishment taken out of the school. Well, they know what they're doing, what they was doing. How you gonna teach a child if you can't discipline that child? How can you teach a child if the child does not fear to disrespect or displease his teacher? Huh? In the book of Proverbs, let's go to it. You know, I want some of these psychologists to come in here that's always getting on a Dr. Phil, where are you? You know, he gets up there and he brings people on there that always agree with him. Huh? It's a fixed thing. Do I bring people on here that always agree with me? Or do I bring people on here and open the phone lines up to anybody that disagree with me? And I have conversation with them. You remember when the lady asked me, why are you defending him? I answered her. And when I asked her, why aren't you defending him? She ran. Are you aware you're going to have time for how you acted with me, lady? And your black skin ain't going to be no excuse. And your history in slavery ain't going to be no excuse. Because it's written, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And because you reject knowledge, I will also reject you. And you just remember that. Don't come in here to me thinking that you're going to use our slavery as an excuse, because I was a slave too. I had the same experience in this country as you. I put on bleaching cream and was ashamed to be black, just like you. Everything that you suffered. But when I heard the voice of Almighty God, Allah, I didn't stick no cotton in my ear. It frightened me, but I listened to it anyway because I couldn't find no fault in what the Honorable Elijah, when he said white people mistreated us, he was telling the truth. They even taught us that they mistreated us. Even when he called them devils, they called each other devils. And instead of fearing God, you feared white people. So you was afraid to listen to a man tell you the truth about them because you didn't want them to think that you would dare to listen to anybody who tell you that these people got to answer for how they done us. You didn't even take the time to hear the man out. But I did. Why do you think the scripture says vengeance will repay? saith the Lord. It is because you want revenge on white people for slavery. I don't. Because that wasn't their idea in the first place. They may have thought it was, but it wasn't. That was God's idea, and it's right there that he wrote that before slavery ever happened. Now, in order for slavery not to happen, you have to make a lie out of the word of God. So when it happened, even though it was terrible to us, Allah had another plan. I remember once I was looking at Star Trek, and Mr. Spock had suffered some kind of tragedy, and he had to go to death's door. You know, he had to almost be dying before he could be brought out of it. And so while he was the nurse, Miss Chapel, who was secretly in love with him, to slap him. And she wouldn't do it. She said, I can't hit you. And Dr. McCoy, or one of them, came over there and began slapping him. And he's slapping him hard too. And after Spock came out of it, McCoy was about to slap, Spock grabbed his hand and said, that's enough. Well, I'm telling you, 400 years of slavery, and I'm telling you that's enough. I'm here now. Slavery was to help get me here. And I'm telling you that's enough. Now you want to keep on going? That's what vengeance is mine mean. Not for what you did before I got here, but what you decided you want to keep on doing after I'm here. Them phone lines are open. Any of you all got something you want to say to me? Come on in here and let it out. Up here making that man's life hell simply because he cared enough about black people to come out and tell us, hey, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. You got to take your community back. You got to take you can't let people who want to see you grow up dumb and foolish dictate to you how to raise your children. They're not doing nothing but preparing your children so they can do it, like that young man that got tackled by a Klan member pretending to be a police officer. Don't you worry. All you people that's in the Ku Klux Klan that still run around here think you want to murder my people and do, soon your mind gonna be turned to do that to your own wife, your own children, your own people. Just like that little boy that went in there, Sandy Hook, and shot up all them white babies. You just keep on. About sick of you. It's written, for all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And we made you the devil. We made you. Now I'm offering you a chance to be changed. It's like, you know, you can make a person a drug addict. How many of y'all saw Enter the Dragon? You remember on there in the scene where it showed them making drug addicts out of them women? How about Taken? You remember when Liam, the star went in there and the girl, he found the girl, they had made a prostitute and a dope addict out of her. They was about to do the same to his daughter. Okay. But he brought her back, didn't he? He brought the girl out of it, and she told him about his daughter and stuff, right? Okay. We made you the devil, and now I'm here to take that curse off of you. I ain't holding you responsible for what you did and what we made you. I don't care about what the rest of the. I know what my job is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me, he said, now don't blame them for what by nature of the knowledge that you put in them. Don't blame them for what you put. He said, blame yourself for putting it in it. He was talking to me. Not this flesh, to the mind that's in me. Tell me something. How many people driving 2016, well, 2015 cars that are made in 20? Huh? Quite a few, huh? Well, those cars, most people that's driving cars are older than the car they. Ain't that true? The mind that's in me talking to you is much older than this body that it's in. There's not a soul, but with it is a driver and a witness. In my case, it's 144,000 witnesses. Right here in my head. And believe me, you do not want to call yourself fighting with us. Best thing you can do while I'm talking is shut your mouth. And I see most of you don't learn that. You're gonna come in here trying to argue with me. You can't argue with me. All you can do is bark at me. Because when I ask you for some kind of facts, you have none. And if you have no argument, let me let you hear something. You know, I don't, if you go online and you see, now, I mean, they talking about the infamous pound cake speech. The people that was listening wasn't angry, but the NAACP, the heads of that must have been angry. Well, I guess so. When you got white people writing your speeches, you done told teachers that they're going to have to teach your children, but they can't correct when your children have, and then you wonder why your children come out dumb and come out disrespectful to anybody that has some authority. Because if you took corporal punishment out of the school, you gave the children authority over their teachers. Why don't you come in here and tell me that ain't so? Why don't you come in here and show me that I'm wrong for saying that? And I won't overtalk you. I will let you talk. And all I'll do is ask you a few questions. I'll let you come on in here and tell us how doing that, yeah, you don't want nobody whipping your child and all that kind of stuff. Just come on in here and tell me how what you the way you doing it is right. Isn't it strange that I can't get nobody to come in here, me, in this forum, but they get on Fox News and say, they get on CNN and say it. They get in all of these controlled propaganda stations and say it. Then why don't they come in here and say it? And you who agree with them, why you don't come on in here and say, I can't even get you to type it. Only thing I get from you is cussed out. And you're going to pay for that too. You never should have blasphemed against the Holy Spirit. Why would you curse a person out that gives you the opportunity and respects you as a man and as a woman to be willing to hear an of you? You curse me, somebody who just talk at you. For you're some wicked people, and you deserve what you finna get. Excuse me. You're going to do what come to you. Just I don't wish no ill on none of y'all. I wish good for you. But I need you to hear some things that should open your eyes. Let's see here. I want you to see something here. What time? How much time we got? I don't want to. Yeah, time. Tell you what. We ain't got but 8 minutes. I will let you see this though. Excuse me.
Back in 2011, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper by the name of Donna Jane Watts stopped a speeding driver who was going 120 miles. She was really surprised to find that that person in the vehicle was someone by the name of Fausto Lopez. Fausto Lopez is actually a police officer with the Miami Police Department. So she arrested him, and the video footage was awesome. Take a look. Right now.
gun drawn and commands firing. An FHP trooper pulls over a Miami police officer. And during all of this, the Miami officer sounds just as shocked as she is mad. Began unbelievably before the trooper like she's standing still. Describes him weaving in and out of lanes, speeding up and slowing down at speeds topping 120 miles an hour until both finally come to a tense stop 4 minutes 57 seconds later.
I would not mess with her. Okay.
She's not playing, man.
Yeah, not so fast though. By the way, not a bad looking guy. Anyway.
Okay. So look, at first she doesn't know if it's a cop or not. She
Yeah,
knows
she has
it's
no idea.
the cop car, right?
Right. So she pulls him over. She takes his badge. Not takes his badge. That leads to him losing his job, right? Mm-hmm. So as you guys know, usually cops look out for one another. But in this case, that did not happen. It made national headlines. He lost his job, and other members of law enforcement there were really upset about it. So the harassment begins, and people start harassing the Florida trooper. Random telephone calls on her cell phone. Some were threats and some were prank calls. Pizza, unfamiliar vehicles and police cars sat idling in her cul-de-sac. She was afraid to open her mailbox. A number of certain things were happening to her, so she was really worried about it. And then she, hey, you know what? I get the sense that cops are checking in on driver's license information. You know, they can pull up that information because they're cops.
That's why they know where she lives. Look, a lot of times people feel that you're like, you're paranoid, right? Yeah. People aren't going to check in on you, and then mysterious cars in my cul-de-sac. In this case, not so much.
Yeah. So she decided to take a look, and she realized that in a 3-month period, 88 law enforcement officers from 25 different agencies accessed her driver's license information 200 times.
She was totally lying. She was trying to be paranoid. But it seems like half the cops in South Florida were checking out where she lives, and obviously some of them were totally harassing her.
Now, in 1994, there was a law passed, a federal law passed. It's known as the Federal Driver Privacy Protection Act. Cops or anyone looking up your private information when there's absolutely no need to do so. And in this case, there was no need to do so other than to try to harass her, right? If you are caught breaking this law, you can be fined $2,500. Now, she is suing using that law as a reason to sue, and if she wins, she can receive up to $500,000.
Totally agree with her. Okay, now there's people now, of course, there's those defending the other side, saying the government, and saying, hey, wait a minute, this is like, if you look up somebody's driver's license for profit, it said, no, but it doesn't say that in the law. It doesn't say only for profit. Like, for example, if you look up their driver's license to harass them at their house, yeah, that's exactly what the law should cover. So she deserves the $500,000. Look, if you were going to harass you and threaten you, don't you think that would be a good reason to sue the government, even if you're a cop? Hell yeah!
Yeah. Now, the Department of Justice has actually chimed in on this, and they said, no, that defense is ridiculous. This law would protect her, so she is going to go ahead and file suit, and I'm glad that she's doing it. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that they use those resources just to go after and harass her. And by the way, now she's 120 miles per hour on the highway. That's so unbelievably unsafe, and I love that she actually did her job.
The main thing is that she saw a police car zoom by her, no lights on. He ain't flashing no lights like he chasing somebody. She ain't heard no crime. What you doing speeding down the road like that while you supposed to be out here enforcing the law? She stopped him. And the rest of them get mad at her. So it's an exclusive club. Everybody have to obey the law except the people who supposed to be there enforcing it. Yeah. You know, and like I said, it's some officers out there that believe in obeying the law. Some of them do. But the majority, they keep on talking about it's just a bit. Well, what is these 88 of them harassing her for? If the majority of them is good people. You know what Prophet Muhammad said about how many going to hell? When he was asked, how many for hell? He said 999 out of every 1,000. What did Solomon say? Solomon said, one man, he would mean a righteous man. And if he ain't righteous, God made man in whose image? Huh? In his image, after his likeness? Is God unrighteous? Well, if you're in the image of God and after his likeness, you're not unrighteous either. One man in 1,000 have I found. That's what Solomon said. So yeah. We're out of time, y'all. Tell you what, if it pleases Allah, a half hour from now, we will come back and I will continue to show you these things and give you more reason why we should be speaking up for Dr. Cosby and putting an end to these people lying on him in the media, lynching that man. Okay. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped. Your conference.
Brother Jamar.